What if I told you that one of Australia's most fascinating creatures might still be out there, hiding in the remote wilderness? A creature so unique that scientists are spending millions trying to bring it back from extinction? The Tasmanian tiger, with its wolf-like appearance, distinctive stripes, and bizarre ability to open its jaws to an incredible 120 degrees, was once declared completely gone from our planet. But is it really? Today, we're diving into the extraordinary story of the Thylacine, from its ancient origins to the cutting-edge science attempting to resurrect this Australian icon. And stick around, because I'll share evidence of recent sightings that will make you question everything you thought you knew about this mysterious marsupial. The Thylacine wasn't just another Australian animal, it was truly one of the most remarkable creatures to ever roam this continent. Despite its nickname Tasmanian Tiger or Tasmanian Wolf, this animal wasn't related to big cats or canines at all. It was actually a marsupial, meaning females had a pouch like kangaroos and koalas. This makes the Thylacine even more extraordinary, as it's one of the few marsupial apex predators to have existed in recent times. Standing about 60 centimeters tall at the shoulder and stretching up to 180 centimeters from nose to tail, the Thylacine had a distinctive appearance that's impossible to mistake. Its yellowish-brown coat featured 15 to 20 dark stripes across its back and rump, hence the tiger nickname. But what truly set the Thylacine apart was its incredible jaw. Unlike any other mammal, it could open its mouth to an astonishing 120-degree angle, almost twice what a dog can manage. Imagine being able to open your mouth wide enough to touch your ears. This remarkable adaptation likely helped it secure prey and consume food efficiently in the harsh Tasmanian environment. Another fascinating feature was its stiff, kangaroo-like tail that couldn't wag like a dog's. This tail served as a counterbalance when running and standing upright. And speaking of standing, thylacines could briefly balance on their hind legs to survey their surroundings, a behavior captured in rare historical footage. Male thylacines also had a small pouch that protected their reproductive organs while moving through dense brush, another unique adaptation not seen in many other marsupials. The story of the Thylacine's distribution across Australia is a tale of gradual retreat. Fossil evidence shows these remarkable creatures once roamed across mainland Australia and New Guinea, dating back at least 4 million years. Aboriginal rock art from the Kimberley region and Northern Territory depicts thylacines, confirming their presence across the continent for thousands of years. These ancient artworks provide valuable insights into how long these animals coexisted with humans. But around 3,000 years ago, something dramatic happened. Thylacines disappeared completely from mainland Australia, retreating to their final stronghold, the island of Tasmania. This coincided with two significant events: the arrival of dingoes to mainland Australia and changing climate conditions that altered their habitat. In Tasmania, without dingo competition, thylacines thrived as the apex predator. They preferred the woodland forests and scrublands, particularly in the island's central highlands and coastal regions. These areas provided the perfect combination of cover for hunting and open spaces for pursuing prey. By the time European settlers arrived in Tasmania in the early 1800s, thylacines were still relatively common across the island. But this final sanctuary wouldn't remain safe for long. Despite being Tasmania's apex predator, the thylacine was surprisingly shy and elusive. Primarily nocturnal, these creatures would hunt during the evening and night hours, resting in small caves or hollow logs during the day. Contrary to their fearsome reputation among early settlers, thylacines were generally cautious around humans. They preferred to avoid confrontation, retreating into the bush when encountered. This shy nature actually made studying them difficult, even when they were still relatively common. As hunters, thylacines were persistence predators, similar to wolves but unrelated through convergent evolution. They would pursue prey like wallabies, poratues, and smaller mammals at a steady pace until the target became exhausted. With a top speed estimated at about 40 kilometers per hour, they weren't particularly fast, but their endurance was remarkable. Their hunting technique utilized their keen sense of smell and excellent night vision. Thylacines would stalk prey downwind before launching into pursuit. Those powerful jaws would deliver a decisive bite, typically to the neck or base of the skull. Interestingly, studies of their skull structure suggest they were equipped to take down prey smaller than themselves, not the sheep-eating monsters portrayed in colonial propaganda. In fact, their jaw strength was relatively modest compared to other predators, making the accusations of widespread sheep predation highly questionable. Thylacines were also known to be capable swimmers, crossing rivers and even short stretches of sea to reach offshore islands. This adaptation helped them survive in Tasmania's varied landscape. When European settlers established sheep farms across Tasmania in the 1800s, they brought with them a deep-seated fear of predators. The thylacine, as the island's largest native predator, quickly became the scapegoat for any livestock losses. In 1830, the Van Diemen's Land Company placed the first bounty on thylacines, offering £1 for each adult and 10 shillings for each young, substantial sums at the time. By 1888, the Tasmanian government itself established an official bounty program, paying £1 per adult and 10 shillings per juvenile. This systematic removal campaign was devastatingly effective. Between 1888 and 1909, bounty records show payments for 2,184 specimens, but experts believe the actual number removed was much higher, as many weren't officially reported. The pressure wasn't just from hunting. Habitat destruction for agriculture, introduced diseases, particularly a distemper-like illness that affected many Tasmanian animals in the late 1800s, and competition from introduced dogs all contributed to the thylacine's decline. By the early 1900s, thylacines had become extremely rare in the wild. The last confirmed wild specimen was taken in 1930 by farmer Wilf Batty near Mulbana in Tasmania's northwest. If you're enjoying this deep dive into one of Australia's most fascinating creatures, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us bring more Aussie oddities to light. And drop a comment below telling us which extinct Australian animal you'd like to see featured next. The final chapter of the confirmed thylacine story centers on one individual, often called Benjamin, though its gender remains debated. This last captive thylacine lived in Hobart's Beaumaris Zoo. On the night of September 7, 1936, this final thylacine passed away from exposure after being accidentally locked out of its sheltered sleeping quarters during an unusually cold Tasmanian night. The tragic irony? Just 2 months earlier, on July 10, 1936, the Tasmanian government had finally declared the species protected. The protection came far too late. The last known thylacine was gone, and with it, the species was officially considered extinct. Perhaps the most haunting aspect of this story is the precious little footage that remains of living thylacines. The most famous clips show Benjamin pacing in the small zoo enclosure, a ghostly reminder of what we've lost. This black and white footage, shot in 1933 by naturalist David Flay, represents one of the few moving images we have of this remarkable species. For decades, this was thought to be the definitive end of the thylacine story, but as we'll see, there may be more chapters yet to be written. Despite the official extinction declaration, reported thylacine sightings never stopped. In fact, thousands of sightings have been reported across Tasmania and even mainland Australia since 1936. While many can be dismissed as misidentifications of foxes, wild dogs, or mangy wombats, some reports come from highly credible sources, experienced bushmen, park rangers, and wildlife experts who are intimately familiar with Tasmania's fauna. The 1982 case of Ranger Hans Narding stands out. While conducting a wildlife survey in Tasmania's northwest, Narding reported observing a thylacine for several minutes at close range in his vehicle's headlights. As an experienced wildlife officer specifically looking for native animals, his account carries significant weight.
In 1985, an experienced parks and wildlife employee, Kevin Cameron, captured what appears to be a thylacine on film in Western Australia. While the footage is grainy, experts who've analyzed it remain divided on what it actually shows. More recently, in 2017, trail cameras set up in the Tasmanian wilderness captured images of what some experts believe could be a thylacine. The distinctive stiff tail, striped pattern, and unusual gait have kept this evidence in serious scientific discussion. In 2019, a detailed report compiled by the Thylacine Awareness Group documented 1,234 sightings across Australia, concluding that the species potentially survived until at least the 1990s. Their analysis suggests a small population may have persisted in remote areas far longer than officially recognized. While none of these sightings provide definitive proof, the sheer volume and consistency of reports from credible witnesses keeps the possibility alive that small populations might have survived in remote wilderness areas. While the search for living thylacines continues, another fascinating chapter is unfolding in laboratories across Australia and the United States, the attempt to bring the thylacine back through de-extinction. In 2022, a partnership between Colossal Biology and the University of Melbourne announced an ambitious $15 million project to resurrect the thylacine using cutting-edge genetic technology. This isn't science fiction. It's based on real advances in genetic engineering, particularly CRISPR gene editing technology. The process involves several complex steps. First, scientists sequence the thylacine genome using DNA extracted from preserved specimens. In late 2024, researchers announced they had produced a reconstructed thylacine genome that is the most complete ancient genome of any extinct animal. The next step involves identifying the differences between thylacine DNA and that of its closest living relative, the fat-tailed dunnart, a small marsupial. Using CRISPR technology, scientists can then edit the dunnart genome to match thylacine DNA. These edited cells would be transformed into embryos and gestated either in a dunnart or an artificial womb. The result would be an animal genetically identical or very similar to the extinct thylacine. Professor Andrew Pask, who leads the University of Melbourne team, believes they could produce their first thylacine joeys within the decade. If successful, this would represent one of the most significant achievements in conservation science history. Of course, the project raises profound ethical questions. Critics argue that resources might be better spent protecting currently endangered species, while others question whether we have the right to bring back an extinct species. Supporters counter that the technology developed could help save currently endangered species and that humans have a responsibility to restore what we've destroyed.
Few extinct animals have maintained such a powerful presence in cultural memory as the thylacine. In Tasmania, it remains an unofficial symbol of the island, appearing on the official coat of arms, government logos, and tourism materials. The thylacine has become a powerful symbol of conservation, representing both the devastating consequences of human actions and our growing awareness of the need to protect biodiversity. Its story is taught in Australian schools as a cautionary tale about extinction. In Aboriginal cultures, particularly in Tasmania, the thylacine featured in Dreamtime stories and was considered a spiritually significant creature. These cultural connections add another dimension to the loss of this unique species. The thylacine has also become a global icon of extinction, appearing in documentaries, books, and conservation campaigns worldwide. Its distinctive appearance makes it instantly recognizable, and its relatively recent disappearance keeps it in the public consciousness. Perhaps most telling is how the thylacine has become a symbol of hope and redemption in conservation circles. The possibility of its continued existence or successful de-extinction represents our desire to undo past mistakes and restore what was lost. The thylacine story isn't just about an extraordinary animal that disappeared. It's about our relationship with the natural world and our growing understanding of our impact on it.
From its evolution as a unique marsupial predator to its retreat to Tasmania, from systematic removal to possible survival and potential resurrection through cutting-edge science, the thylacine continues to capture our imagination and challenge our understanding of extinction itself. Whether through confirmed rediscovery in the remote Tasmanian wilderness or successful de-extinction in a laboratory, the return of the thylacine would represent an unprecedented second chance, not just for this remarkable species, but for humanity's relationship with the natural world. And if you found this exploration of the Tasmanian tiger fascinating, you'll definitely want to check out our video on Australia's box jellyfish, another unique creature with an incredible adaptation that makes it one of the most dangerous animals in our waters. The link is in the description below. What do you think? Could thylacines still be out there, or should we bring them back through science? Let us know in the comments below.